What's up, everyone? Marzi here from the show. We'll name it later. Let me just get right to it, man, with my great, great friend, Scott Smith. I've known Scott for many, 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 many moons. There was a war back when we first met, and there's a war going on now, but what we maintain is the love and integrity for music, arts in general. We've known each other for so long, and the premise of this show in the beginning, and it's been me exposing my friends to you. And man, I'm so happy that you're here.
Dude.
I'm so happy because this is more or less a hang. And I haven't seen you. I just saw you recently play live, by the way, with David Harrison and Bobby and everybody. And for Russ's benefit, you were amazing.
Thanks.
The whole band was amazing. It's so good to see you, and then your progress through all this. Let's just get into it, man, because I've known you for so long. I've known you since I was a teenager, and I've looked up to you, and you've just consistently, through the years, we see each other like periodically, and I've seen you play, and then I've seen you play again, then I've seen you play again, and just now I've heard you play again, and you're constantly evolving. You're constantly evolving as a musician, and you're one of the best American guitar players that I personally know, and it's been, as a guitar player, you've been a blessing in my life, because just because let me just tell you, I know I'm taking up all the space, but like you came in to Hole in the Wall Studios one time, I remember, and you had this beautiful smile like you do today, and you had your girlfriend with you, and you were like, "Hey, play something." You were literally so proud of me or something, and you were like making me play, and I sat down and played, and you were like, you're showing me off, and then you told me to tell her how old I was. You're like, "How old are you?" I'm like, 14. And he's like, "He's only 14, So I want to tell you, like that incident, right? The confidence he gave me, because, it wasn't that my ego got swelled up. You were very loving. You know what I mean? It's like someone that you look up to that's so good received you, like validated something that you were doing. So things like that were fuel for me to progress like the rest of my life on, man. So thanks again.
Hey, man. Back at you, bro.
Thank
you. And you did a lot with that. I've been watching you go for a number of years, man, and you've gotten to some places. And I got to tell you, man, I am so proud of that.
Thank you so much.
Cool little 14-year-old punk ass kid that I met at Hole in the Wall, man. that check my and dude, those compliments really mean a great deal to me.
They're coming straight from my heart.
And the blessings are mutual. You've enriched my life, and everybody's a fan of Marzi. So, man, you're always putting your best foot forward, and you're doing what you're supposed to do in life, and you're just making humanity happy, and that's a good deal.
Thank you, man. You're a big part of that. Like I said, there's always like this chain of events, and that moment in my life, and throughout that, we can keep going, because then we can get to stride days when I was not just baffled by your playing. We're going to get into this, but I was baffled by your mental abilities to be able to like set up pedal boards, man, and make your own pedal board. Like you guys were ahead of your time with creating, like you were like using volume pedals to go from one amp to another. And you did so many crazy things.
Yeah, we did crazy shit.
Let's just jump into the beginning for the people that don't know you that well. Scott, where were you born and raised, man?
Well, I was born in Dallas, but we got here to Houston pretty quickly.
Nice.
So I'm from Houston.
Okay.
Right on?
Yeah.
All my family, all my immediate family, all my cousins, my aunts and uncles and what have you, they're out there in Dallas. And by the way, I'm wearing colors. So when they listen, I'm going to talk my trash now. And I'm thinking it's going to go Astros in 2. And I say Astros in 2 because we're going to whip their ass so bad in the first 2 games, they're going to do an unprecedented move and just forfeit the rest of the series and not show up.
Go Stros,
so,
man.
The Stros and my cousins and my aunts and uncles, sorry for such a severe ass whipping in advance, but that's how we roll here in H-Town.
That's how we roll in H-Town. Tribute to H-Town, by the way.
Oh, I love it. Astros Orange. All bullshit aside, good luck, Rangers. I'm looking forward to a hell of a series with you guys. It's going to be a bloodbath, and really, it's anybody's game, baby.
So you're a big sports dude.
I am, man.
So growing up, was your family musical, sport? Both.
My family was sports. I'm the first person in my family to make money at making music.
Nice.
My dad was a professional baseball player.
Oh, wow,
He
man.
played for the Cincinnati Reds at his time in the majors, and it was a short-lived career for him because he had a wife and youngins at home. He had to get his butt home.
We got to find a picture of that and pop it up there, man.
They're out there, it's in there. But yeah,
awesome.
man, I'm very proud of that fact. You know, he was a legend in his time, and he was a very good athlete, and he coached us all in Pee Wee and what have you. But I wasn't much of a athlete. You know, I mean, I'm into it and everything because Pops was into it, and baseball. You know, we're a baseball family. You know,
Right, right.
But my dad. Because of the itinerant nature of minor league baseball, he never had any problem with what I did. You know, what we do. We're gone all the time. We're working all the time, going to weird places to work, and he was down with that because he understood it.
So, yeah, so you had his backing.
Yeah, man, for
That's
sure.
awesome.
Yeah,
that
man.
goes a long ways, man.
Yeah.
That goes a long ways. And you can see it, man. You can see it.
My folks are awesome. My mom is up in Austin, and the rest of my family are up there with her, and we're down here in Houston. And you know, I got a good family. I came from a good family, and all of that I projected onto you back in the day. That's from that family.
You know, what a blessing your whole entire family is. I get that vibe since the beginning,
Yeah.
and I see it online.
Yeah.
You know, it's God bless all of you, man.
Yeah, man.
What type of music were you listening to though growing up?
Dude, man, I had the fortunate circumstance to be the youngest sibling of 4 kids.
Okay.
And each one of my 3 brothers and sisters have very diverse taste in music. So I got, and in addition to that, my parents had their own taste in music. So I had a lot of influence, man, and I was able to make choices, you know. My sister was the Simon and Garfunkel Beatles person. My oldest brother, Randy, he was the outlaw country guy who brought home the Willie Nelson Redheaded Stranger record. He said, you like all that hippie conceptual stuff, you ought to try listening to this. I don't know if you ever listened to that record or not, but it was a concept record by Willie Nelson. It was like Hemispheres, but Willie Nelson
Wow, man.
tells his great story. And
That's
everything.
another pop-up we got to do now here.
And my middle brother, Steven, he's the one that he brought me the Boston album when I was in 7th grade.
Okay.
You know, and we're getting places here, right? And it's telling the tale. My dad, he was into gospel Elvis and Bob Wills. And,
Yeah, man.
You know, and all that stuff. And likewise with my mom into the gospel and the music in the Baptist church and what have you. And
That's just beautiful. That's
So-
great. That's great upbringing.
dude, I
Man,
had a great start. You know, and
very
little-
well-rounded, man. Like you know, just really just good music.
right. And then when we got our turn, you know, it was like, this is my music. You know, it's like, this is mine, Jack. You know, and then, you know, like this Iron Maiden album, this is mine. You know, and
But it was Boston. Boston was like the hard rockish first one you heard.
yeah, Boston was a huge one for me. That's why.
Same, you know.
That's where all the harmony guitar comes from. And
Yeah, you have a lot of that.
yes, and then that's the reason why, man. I mean, that record, that was one of the first rock records that I ever got, and to this day, it's in the top 3. You know, there's music that you grow out of, and then music you grow old with. You know, and that's that music. And there's just certain music that came to us coming up that we still covet, you know.
And man, and then you know it goes at this age periods of time where you don't listen to it. Then when you go revisit it, it's like this whole new thing.
Yeah, and you
Like
hear
for
it.
me, was Since I've Been Loving You. Going back and revisiting it and hearing the squeak in Joe Bonham's bass drum,
Yeah.
I flipped out.
Yeah.
Like that, just hearing that was just like the craziest thing ever. You know,
Craziest
and later on in life, you know, like I didn't grow up listening to some of this stuff because I wasn't exposed to it. Like Allman Brothers, I keep talking about this song, man. It ain't my cross to bear, you know. I just can't, imagine anything being more perfect than that. From his delivery, his voice, from the dynamics. And like guitar again, the feedback out of nowhere, and coming back at it, it's just like, how does this even happen? Because it's all, you know, it's not, you know.
And it's just been laying there all these years. And you're,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
perfect music, perfect
right
music,
on. No.
very pure too. And you know, we just did Brent Hines, and that's all he talked about, man. It was like all that Eddie Van Halen for him was like past.
yeah, I listened to your interview
which was
with him,
killer.
man.
You know, he's a very purist. But Eddie obviously came after Tom for you. Is that? Tell me about the progression
Dude,
of like
what
guys that blew you to.
What can I say, man?
I mean, Tom Schultz right there, that's setting the bar like at an unprecedented level because the tones, man.
But he
the
set such a
harmonies.
high bar of, you know, what am I actually listening to? And it took a long time for me to come to an understanding of what I was actually hearing. You know, whereas like Van Halen, that shit was in your face, man. It was like, here, pow! And there was no missing that at all. There was no dissecting that. It came to you fully formed, right?
Yeah.
And it came right to your front door.
Yeah, man. It did. And like they said, man, Van Halen wasn't part of all of us, and their job was just coming in and bringing it out of us.
That's
That was
true.
almost so, because it felt so natural,
Yeah.
man.
And then those days at the Hole in the Wall, that was the peak of all of that, man. And that was the beginnings of me seeking out instructors and stuff while we were at Hole in the Wall.
Okay.
And
But you know what I remember back in those days is actually you telling us, me and Bloss, that you had a student that was going to play Eisenhower High School, and then we should go check him out because he was really cool. I mean, just like that. And because you said that, we all went. We all went because you said he's going to play Eruption. And you know, he was your student, and I remember he played the Kramer and all that.
Yeah.
And I remember his drummer that day, God rest your soul, John, man.
John Hill.
John Hill was playing
Hill.
drums that night, and I think I sat next to you. And
Man,
you were so proud of that guy.
It's been a long damn time ago, but yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it was one of those things that, you know, I vividly remember because I was next to you, and you were really proud, man. You were real proud of him because he did a really good job, and I'm like, you taught him that? How'd you even figure it out, you know?
Well, that was that one song that I knew, so I was able to teach that to a lot of people.
That's a tough song, man.
Oh man, that it was, you know, and we all have our versions of it. I haven't tried to lay my hands on it in a long time. It kind of seems like a sacred ground anymore, you know.
Yeah.
And it's still kind of, when we listen to that stuff, it still kind of hurts, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like, you know, for me, you know, growing up here, he's like a dad to me. So
Well, I get that, man. I get that.
When he passed, it was actually equivalent for me, emotionally, morning-wise. Like, you know, actually when I lost my father in 2013, it was the same. You know, it was like 3 days of solid mourning, and
Yeah.
and then after that, you kind of don't never get over it. But then you're thankful, you're very grateful, and it teaches you a lot while you're actually still, you know, going through this journey in life, you know.
Sure, yeah.
With the heart beating, it makes you think of it, you know, what a blessing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know, my mind's about to explode thinking about him, man.
Yeah.
You know, like all the things that he did, where it becomes more and more, you know, as the years go by, it's like just so amazing.
Yeah, that's
Still with Jimmy
call
too.
back to that stuff you grow old with, and every
Jimmy
time you
too.
listen to it,
Jeff Beck.
oh, all those guys, man. And the list goes on and on. And I mean, there's, you know,
For you, tell me the key players for you.
oh, geez, man, that's a hard
After
one.
Tom.
Because, I mean, if we're going in chronological order, that list is, you know, 2,000 guitar players long.
The
know.
ones that rocked your boat, man. Because
you know-
I mean, you went after you start seeking lessons and whatnot.
Well, you know, like we all love Ace Frehley, right? Because he was like that first guy that dropped our jaw, and we didn't know any better, right? We didn't know, so we grew out of that rather quickly. But you got to name check the guy, right? Because
Right.
he was
I
him.
completely, because I came to America in 78, 79.
Yeah.
I missed the Kiss boat. You know, I entirely did, but I did see them like on 2020, that show, and they were showing, you know, all the
Yeah.
fire and the guitar
Yeah.
taking off, and I was
I
like,
saw
whoa! But I never knew what they sounded like.
Yeah.
So
It
if
didn't
I
matter.
were to come to America in a couple of years earlier, and I think they would have rocked my socks off. But when I got here, I heard Van Halen first.
Yeah.
So
Hard to beat that.
yeah, you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
for
dude.
me, I literally didn't get Kiss. Van Halen was like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Van Halen.
No, I get it, man. When I first started playing guitar, there were really no ulterior motives other than my parents wanted me to try to do something with my hands, quote unquote. You know, and I was probably several months, maybe a year or so, into classical guitar, with none of this was even on the radar. You know, and I had my Boston record or whatever, but not, you know, that wasn't ever an aspiration. But Eddie's the guy that smacked me, you know, and he's the one that I had the same reaction you had, brother.
But your first guitar was an acoustic.
Yeah, I played classical for a bit before I even played. You know,
they really didn't ask you that. So did you have an electric around, or did that come second?
No, that wasn't even wasn't even part of it. Like I said, my my folks, God love them, they were trying desperately to find something that I could get interested in besides the wrong side of the tracks, you know. And they're just being great parents and exposing me to different things. And they said, well, why don't you try a musical instrument? Why don't you try piano or guitar? We'll do that. We can get you private lessons, and you know, piano was out of the question because you can't take a piano to the beach and pick up chicks with it, right? So the guitar was a better option, so I took that on. But you know, when I thought, you know, and I'm thinking in my head, yeah, I'm gonna get a guitar, it's gonna be badass and all this. And my folks like, okay, here are rules. Classical guitar, no electric guitar. You're gonna start on this one. If you keep it up for a while, we'll talk later. You know, it took them a while. It took them much longer to come to Eddie Van Halen than it took you and I to come to Eddie Van Halen, right?
Sure.
So,
but man, I'm just listening to this and just thinking about this pedigree, this story being told, and how important that right there actually probably was in your life.
oh yeah, it was real important, and not only, you know, I came at it kind of from an academic place, you know, and so I learned the value of going and doing your study. And so that's why I said, you know, about while we were at Hole in the Wall, that was my return to that, trying to go seek out the guys who knew, you know, because I sure as hell didn't know, and I wasn't figuring it out as quickly as I'd like to, so it was time to hit the street and go find it. And
you took that to another level by leaving town and attending GIT.
Yeah.
And that was another thing, you know, like a moment in life where I didn't get to see for a while, and then now here's Scott back from GIT. You bring a buddy with you. You start a band here, a progressive. I mean, a band of like literally monster players, and then let's just. You want to tell me about what the GIT trip?
Oh geez, man, GIT. That was what I remember of it. was pretty amazing, you know, and it was just like that. You know, it wasn't a long program. It was at that time. MI wasn't an accredited college. It is now. You can get a full degree there now. When I was there, you could only get this vocational degree, and it was more like a 12-month-long boot camp. And it was 24/7. And you know what? Honestly, man, while I was there, I got overloaded, and I really didn't start sorting it out till I got home and got to rest a little bit and start putting it together. But yeah, man, the whole experience was crazy because they didn't have proper dormitory. It's, you know, it's in freaking Hollywood, California in the 80s. What year was that, Mars? 86.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a crazy time to be in Hollywood, bro.
Oh yeah.
And we were out there, but the whole clique of people that I hung with were very conscientious about what we were doing, and that outside element, it was there, but it didn't really affect anybody. So
not when you're so focused on something.
We were focused.
You said the word boot camp. I kind of got a grasp of it.
That's what it was, man. All day, every day.
You ain't got time for nothing else.
And I think Joel will tell you the same story. You know, it's just all you can eat, and it was like putting your face in front of a fire hydrant and trying to take a drink. And you know, there was a lot to take in.
You took it in, eventually seeped in you.
Well, man, it was, at that time, it was those were their glory days. You know, Paul Gilbert was on the full-time faculty. On the visiting faculty, you had cats like, you know, drummer Sonny Emery coming in there, and you had guys like Robin Ford coming in. And just on a regular basis, these cats are roaming through here. Frank Gambale on the full-time staff. And then you had the oldsters, Joe Pass and Howard Roberts. They were still there.
Oh, man.
And I hung out with Tommy Tedesco, man. He used to call me the janitor because I worked on the construction crew. I actually had to work part-time while I was at school, and the opportunity came up for me to work at the school on the construction crew that built the new school. So my whole day was, I would go to school during the day, and then I would clock in and hang sheetrock at night.
That's amazing.
And I never left the property.
Tommy Tedesco gave you a flippin' nickname.
Yeah, I was the janitor because
We were just talking about it.
I was walking around with a tool bag. Yeah, I saw that on your on the
I couldn't
Brent Hines. You
remember his
couldn't
name.
remember his name. But yeah, he was. Tommy was real supportive, and he used to mess with me almost daily. You know, like, hey, I see what you're doing today. You're painting some stuff because you got half the shit all. You know, and he was that guy, right? You know, and then
You just named gods, man.
but one of the most awesome things, Mars, and I gotta name check my boys while I'm doing this and not dwell on it too long. That's where I met Matt Kanzler, drummer. He lived upstairs from me in our apartment. And Joel Gregoire, and we all know Joel, and Joel was my roommate. And we three quickly started playing together, and that was the bones of the band you described, Stride. And while we were at school, and I get to really brag on these cats now because this is one of the most, one of the greatest moments of my musical career happened while I was at school. We wrote a piece of music together that ended up on the yearly recording that they make. And not only that, we were asked to perform it at the graduation ceremony, and we were like one of maybe 12 acts maybe that got to go and play. And you talk about the night of the living guitar joke, you know, one guy standing in the corner saying, the murderer's row, the faculty in the front row, and you couldn't drive a pin up my ass with a jackhammer, man. I was so nervous.
Oh, man.
I don't even remember it. I remember walking up, and then I remember standing in the green room afterwards, and that was about it. But dude, there was Tommy Tedesco and Howard Roberts, and there was, you know, Robin Ford and Paul Gilbert. All these guys just sitting there.
That's amazing. That's absolutely beautiful.
But Joel was there to share that,
never knew this,
Matt was there to share that, and then, you know, of course, after that, it was towards the end of the year, and after that, there was no real disputing that we needed to, you know, try to do something, and by whatever decisions we made, we ended up in Houston, and then the rest is what it is, man. But we had a good time playing together, and those were.
So you brought those boys to Houston?
Yeah, I did.
Because Matt originally is not from Houston.
Matt's from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah.
And as you know, Joel is from BFE, Indiana. He's from Delphi, Indiana, I think. Yeah.
Delphi.
Yeah. Little town, smaller than Bloomington, somewhere close to Indianapolis. I've been there. It's tiny. But anyway, you know, of the three places we lived, it was pretty apparent that Houston was going to be our home.
Thank you for doing that for the city, because you guys were incredible, and you were very relevant, and you played live a lot, and you had a house and it was called Stride House.
Yeah, the house.
And I remember going there and just, you know, hanging out and like just geeking out on guitar stuff, and then, you know, this is where I'm probably going to get to the pedal board part, because I remember coming in, hanging out, geeking out on the guitar stuff. Everybody in the band lived there.
Yep.
Everybody was cool. You had techs there that were still friends with us, young guys running around like Todd that were really super cool,
Yeah.
you know, and then you guys would practice, you know. A couple of times I caught the rehearsals, and it was just like, you know, another level, man, of, you know, like tightness and musicianship. Whatever, I mean, it was you, like, you just, you know, went to another level, man. And you had guys that was like keeping up, and the harmonies that you were doing musically was amazing, man.
Well, Joel and Matt Joel and Matt brought it all to a new level, you know, and that was the whole idea of me going out there is man, I know there's, you know, I know there's stuff out there, and I just got to get with the right stuff, you know, and truth be known, the way I'm going to remember it to my dying day is those guys pushed me to that level, because they were kind of already there, you know, and they loved me and wanted me on board, so they had their feet up my butt all the time.
Man, you rise to the occasion, man.
Well, I was glad to do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no, like, you know, it's like apples and oranges when you see you and Joel, you're two different players, but you all would pull off those harmonies, and, you know, Marcus playing bass. And
see, I never played with Marcus. Marcus was after me, but he was something else.
Mike
Perez.
And I know I'm bad with names and stuff like that. Yeah, Mike, of course, and Matt, because you know, I love Mike, man.
Yeah.
Hairy-chested man.
That hairy dude. He had the greatest hair, huh?
Yeah, it's like a lion's mane, man.
He had all that great hair.
So I'm there, and then I look down, and like, I look at this pedal board, and you go to explain it to me, and then it all makes sense, but how someone would make a pedal board that was that clean? You know, we're talking, what year is this? This is pre-90s.
87, yeah.
Then, you know, but you, like I said, you had a volume pedal thing. You were like, this actually makes it go from this amp to the other. And you had two separate rigs.
Yeah.
I remember this vividly. The rest of the stuff I don't remember because you have your pedals and whatever. But I remember looking at the most state-of-the-art looking thing that, you know, you built it.
I built it, yeah. I built it in my garage.
That's another Van Halen thing, man. It's like you're taking this to another mental level. And, you know, physical level, bringing something to, you know.
That pedal board, that specific pedal board, was probably one of my better pedal boards. And I say one of my better because I've built probably a dozen pedal boards over the years, and they all, you know, kind of suit different things, you know. And the one that I just built for the Scott A. Smith group, it's fucking awesome, but it's not practical. There's just too much going on. And all I'm trying to do is replicate the record, you know?
Right.
I need this for that and this for that.
You need those things.
But it's gone stupid, you know? So I'm considering other options. So, you know.
Hey, I saw Frank Marino at Cardi's, man. And like half the stage was a pedal board.
Remember Eric back in the day, probably the time that you opened for him? It was back in the days of his giant rigs, right?
Board, and you know, and in our life.
You were what, 15?
Who, me?
14, 15 when you played with Eric.
I was I was 19.
Oh man, still.
That was just a blessing, man.
Yeah.
Dang, I don't forgot. You know, let me tell you about that. Since I forgot this story, let me tell you about that show. I was backstage warming up, and there was this man tuning an acoustic guitar. And I was like, hey, man, how you doing, man? You Eric's Tech? He's like, no, son, I'm playing tonight. I'm headlining tonight, Joe Ely. You know, it's an Amnesty International concert. And I was like, oh, shit. You know, I was young and I didn't know who he was, but it was an Amnesty show. In fact, Eric that evening only played acoustic. But I did get to meet him, and I get to talk to him a little bit and tell him about the first time I got to see him. Like, you know, I really flipped out, fanboyed out.
I think I did too.
And the more I did, the more he kind of just was, I was like, no way, man. Like, he was just like this beautiful thing, you know, person, you know. And, you know, he's inspired me throughout you know, he's one of those dudes, man, that I just went and saw not on accident, but like I want to see him play, not having a clue, a one note, what he sounded like. I didn't even know what he looked like, I think. I heard his name. I went to see this dude because I heard about him. And he opened up with Cliffs of Dover.
I was probably at that show, man.
Yeah, it was like, you know what it was? KLOL, a rock station.
Was it Rockefellers?
No, actually it was like KLOL, and there was this like a fest or something. It was like an Astro Arena. There were bands playing, and there was like music stores and what is that? Like
Rock
a convention
Fest.
kind of thing.
Was it Rock
Fest?
Fest?
Something like that, like a Rock Fest. Yeah, I remember getting a phone, man. I got a free phone, and me and my brother. I was like, at the time I was 16 when I first saw him, and my younger brother is 9, no 11, and when he came on, I remember my jaw hit the ground, but there was nobody there, you know. And then my younger brother just grabbed me and he pushed me to the front, and we just stood in front of him the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, bro, that night he played, you know, he opened up with Cliffs of Dover solo and Cliffs of Dover. That night he played Manhattan, you know.
Oh, so
that
he was
night-
in the Venus Isle by the time you were here, and so that was a little later then.
Yeah, I saw it like the Eric Johnson thing. That night he played Zap.
Yeah.
You know, I remember all this stuff. And that night he played acoustic stuff, and it was getting horrendous feedback, so he quit and got back on the stride. And you know, I saw him at Astro World one night. There was like 13 people out there. So yeah. Anyway,
Eric was as big of a influence on me as Eddie, probably bigger.
there's another time I've seen you in my life. We ran into each other after a few years, and then you were telling me how you had gone into a realm of like Eric, and you were explaining to me the groupings of fives, and you were explaining me all this stuff, man, and I was just like, that's what I kept
I'm
thinking.
a nerd to the end, man.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, but it's just like throughout the years, I'm like
Yeah.
running into you, and you're again. I'm looking at it like as a guitar player, as a friend, and you're evolving. You're not getting stuck. You're like exploring. You're always like learning. You know,
Yeah.
you're like, you know, even when you said, you know, you had to go, you know, in the Hole in the Wall days, you had to go seek it. You went to GIT. You put some of that to use with the band, and then, you know, we want to get to the computer stuff, but the band, you guys ended up, you know, getting the vocalist Gary more than the feeling Beelan.
More than a feeling being. Love you, Gary.
Love you, Gary.
Yeah.
Great, beautiful person.
Good guy.
Great guy. And you guys, you know, there was a contest on the radio, and you guys like swiped it clean.
I parted with that band probably about 91.
I had no idea.
Yeah. And I went on. This is a part of the journey that doesn't get mentioned much. Is I pretty much kind of disappeared for a bit, but that was probably one of my more active periods. Was like from 91 to about 2008. I was working all the damn time, but I was playing for other people. You know, when Stride wrapped up, it was amicable. We all loved each other, but we all agreed that was over, and it was time to do something different. And at the time, dude, remember we got, you know, music was changing.
Yes, drastically.
And so I decided just to duck out, and I went and I joined a country band.
Which is a whole.
So I started playing country and started learning the bag. And then somewhere in there, I learned how to play pedal steel a little bit. And I started subbing out as a pedal steel player.
Amazing. That's
So-
amazing.
And then somewhere in that journey, I was getting my ass kicked by a steel player by the name of Jody Cameron. He's out there kicking butt still. And he turned me on to Charlie Parker. Of all places to meet Charlie Parker in a country band. And it lit something up in me. And when I left that, shortly after leaving that group of players, I went back to college and started studying with the jazz guys at Houston Community.
That is amazing.
So,
So you
you know,
furthered your education.
I just kept going, just trying to get better jobs, you know, and I was playing in a lot of freelance situations, and that's when I got to see the world. And I was
Your journey is like this insanely amazing buffet line.
It kind of is,
You know what I'm
man.
saying? But go, man.
No, you were doing your shit too, man, and it was cool. You know, I mean, I was getting to see the planet on somebody else's dime, and that was something that I signed on for. So I was accomplishing some things, but I was doing it at the expense of the material that I was having to go out and support. And you know, it is what it is.
But man, there's a, you know, I've had to play gigs where I've had to actually it was like adaptation game, you know, play a hardcore thing where there was no guitar solos
Yeah.
and none of that. But I was really proud of myself that I was able to like translate the guitar in that way.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean?
No, I know. If you embrace
can't
the
have this
challenge, yeah.
Eric Johnson tone if you're playing hardcore or punk or thrash, you know. but you can appreciate all this stuff. There's time and a place. So that country thing for me has always been, again, like the buffet thing I was talking about. That brings about so much.
You know, it was always there.
With all this stuff on your education level and all that, what has been the most challenging stylistically?
Probably that, just to be an authentic country player. And I'm sitting there holding a Telecaster, and I'm sweating through my pants now because I'm afraid you're going to ask me to play some country. Because, you know, with me, whatever style I'm immersed in at the moment, that's where I'm at.
Right.
You know, and right now,
great.
You know,
I mean, yeah. Well, your heart should be in the one place. You know.
Well, I'm trying to. I recently went out and saw Greg Koch and played with, and I've had the good fortune of getting to work with that clown over the years, and he's such an awesome dude. And I forgot what a joy it was just to do that free range telly thing.
He is like current guitar player line. Current is sick.
Yeah.
He's up there, my top 5, like top 3.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Oh my God, he's just, man, that dude. You know, I'm glad he didn't join the basketball team because he probably would have been good at that too. He's so tall, but it's like this ocean of just fluid. You know,
I know, man.
It's just this waterfall of just cascading like beautiful notes and just unbelievable phrasing. And just don't never stop. And then his use of the tone knob, man, he makes it sound like it's crying when he does that. And it's like he's the telly player. God, I mean, you just named God for me.
Yeah,
right
man.
now.
And you know that style of playing really turns me on, where you really don't have there's really no style. You can't say what style that is. And to me, you just it's free range telly picking, you know, and you get that tone and you serve up whatever comes to your mind, and you don't have to. And there's no holds barred on that. And I love playing like that.
You know, all you're doing, man, right now is just like, you're pushing me. I can't help it now. I can't help it now. Okay, so now, look. Right there in the middle by 11-inch beard.
I got a comment, man. That's a fractal. That's crazy, Marzi.
Yeah, you were saying that when you were like, can you believe this is a...
I can't believe it because I have another little tangent story is I have the first Vibra King that hit the city of Houston. I still have it and I still use it. And that sucker's 30 plus years old and it sounds just like that.
That is absolutely amazing.
I'm kind of tuned into that sound.
Yeah, you know what it sounds like.
The response is a little bit different, but the tone is crazy. Dude, I just got an Axe Effects about a month ago. I haven't really dove into it. I just got it sounding good through the DAW, and I plugged it in the other night, and I'm making blues tracks for my dear wife, who's playing
your wife
drums.
plays drums, yeah.
So I'm making her some blues tracks to work on her shuffle, and just for giggles, I turn it on, I whip on the Vibra King, I play a bunch of crap, had my 335, played a bunch of crap, and then I listened back to it the next day, and it was like, that didn't feel like that, but by God, that sounds really great for just plugging in and going. It's just
Can you
crazy.
believe it?
And I can't believe it.
The fact that we can just put headphones on or like have this low volume in our bedrooms, it is a difference.
You were commenting about the Plexi model.
Yes.
We're almost there, baby. We're almost there.
Almost there, yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of all that because like in the studio, it's just amazing. I don't know, I use a blue guitar.
Yeah.
Live and stuff like that, but I mean, kind of it's hard to beat, like, like it really, like, I need 412.
Yeah.
So even if it's that, I still would need to have it, like a power section, like a Seymour Duncan power amp.
You still got to.
I need to have like some air being pushed.
Hell yeah.
I'm just that dude. It's being obsolete almost because of in-ears and stuff like that. I don't do those. It's a personal preference. As an artist, it's like, man, bro,
That's why we do this.
That's why we do it, is to feel it.
That's part of it, man.
And then, growing up in Northwest Houston, Texas, and, having certain kind of lingo, then you go to NAMM and you say things like, man, my guitar was feedbacking.
Feedbacking.
And everybody looks at you and like, what did you just say? I said, man, I was like, the pickups were really hot, dude. The guitar was feedbacking. And they're like, you mean feedback? I'm like, feedbacking, dude. They're like, feedback. Your guitar had feedback. They were like, corrected me, and I was like, there's actually feedbacking is not a word, but I don't give a fuck, man. We're like, that is a thing. It's feedbacking. All right, Texas for you. All right, now, this thing, it's amazing. That's what it sounds like, man.
Well, man, yeah.
Is this your baby?
This is
Your current?
This is a 1992. We're gonna Guitar Geek now. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah,
okay,
man.
dude. I've had this guitar since I bought it at. You worked at the Westheimer store, right?
Yeah.
I bought it at
Guitar
your
Center.
store,
442. Yeah.
and I bought it in 1992. And were you working there then?
No.
No. Okay, so 1992, I bought this guitar there, and I've had it ever since.
Wow. That's a long time ago, man.
It's Jerry Donahue Custom Shop. It's got a really low serial number on it. I've done a lot of custom work to it over the years. This is all aftermarket here. Little thoughtful little modifications here and there just to make it very personal guitar. And it's been refretted 4 times.
Wow.
Then the neck has been planed several times, and I just got the forever fret job on it last time. Got stainless put on it.
Nice.
Ron Pace.
Nice.
Hey, Ron. Ron Pace hooked me up with some stainless on here, and
Pickups are stock?
pickups. This is exactly what came in it, and this is a Seymour Duncan vintage broadcaster. And this is a Seymour Duncan custom Strat pickup because do you know anything about, Jerry Donahue, right?
I mean, I was going to just mention for the viewer, if you don't know Jerry Donahue, if you want to see somebody play, like not play, but bend.
Abuse.
We bend 2 notes, we make 2 notes go a different direction, which is cool. He does 3. he does 3. And what blew my mind about him is like, when he played in I learned about him because he was a Helicaster, right?
Yeah.
Brent Mason, and these are gods playing, right?
Oh,
and
these
then
guys
I
are
heard him
insane.
talk, and he comes kind of like Albert Lee.
He's British.
Yeah, he's British. His accent was like, oh my God. He looked like he was like out of Nashville, but he's like, yeah, and with his accent. And so, yes, I know him well. I have one of his pictures and stuff
Awesome.
like that signed by him.
Awesome.
Yes, sir. Big fan.
Yeah. So this is his signature guitar. And the features, like you were mentioning, he does a lot of bending, so this is scooped out a little bit more to do the behind the nut stuff.
Yeah.
But my nut's probably not lubed up real good, so I'm not going to do that right now. And but he was a Strat player before he was a Tele player.
Okay, well, go ahead.
He was a Strat player, right? Mm-hmm. So this guitar, it has a 5-way switch.
Beautiful.
And
Kind of
it
like a
has-
Nashville Tele, but
Yeah.
it's American. Yeah.
And if you notice the position of this pickup, it's the same position as a Strat pickup.
Right.
It's not that forward little tiny Tele pickup. And so this is not quite a traditional Tele, but it gets that really good, gets that good growl in the back end. And I have the Glendale tuned bridge on it, so it had a kind of a ratty high mid range, and I put this sucker on there, and it just straightened it right out.
That lick brought the dogs out.
But it's got a lot of snarl.
A lot. I love it. Ooh, my personal favorite. I love it all. First, third is kind of weird, and fifth. I love it. I love 1 and 5, but second and fourth position, man.
Of
Out of phase, the out of phase positions, and like the second position,
Yeah.
and the fourth position.
Yeah, I do too.
I call it the Dire Straight kind of thing.
Yeah, this is that.
Knopfler. I love that. That is
there
a
it is.
beautiful sounding guitar, man. That guitar is beautiful and it sounds beautiful, man. So I see you not using a pick right now. Is that
I went from
you just messing around? Oh, you do, so you do use it.
Knopfler land.
Okay,
You know, I
so
was
you
doing
do
my
as a
Knopfler.
sod, okay.
No, I'll go back and forth. I try
Right.
to keep the right hand height, you know, and I do a lot of stuff with my right hand just out of just pure laziness. I think, you know.
You with Stride, y'all did a lot of shredding. I mean, straight up shredding.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, you mentioned Gimbali and stuff like that, and then like all these other cats. Did you pick up some of that and like seep through like later on and help you out?
What playing the?
Like after Stride.
Well, yeah.
Some of that music.
Well,
like,
dude, and I gotta say, you know, all that was there, and even after the school experience, like I said, when I got home, you know, I had a stack of stuff this high. While you're there, there's no time to process this stuff. It's like, you got that? Okay, we're moving on. And you don't really get all of it. But it was, what was really awesome, and I always fall back to this, is I had a roommate that was just as voracious as I was, and we were constantly pushing each other to the next thing. And to Joel's credit, he got this shit about 5 times faster than I got it. So he was always a hair ahead of me, right? So if I was having trouble with something, he was there to grab me and pull me up and pull me over. So
that's like such a beautiful
but we had
friendship.
It was a great, it remains to this day, you know.
I know. I see you guys, man. I saw you guys just, you know, I saw you play, which I hadn't seen you play in such a long time. Like, you know, just, you know, not only were you great, you know, just even better. Same thing with Joe. It's like, you know, you guys somehow kept getting better and better and better.
He just keeps on getting, every time I see him play, I'm like, stop it, man.
Yeah,
you know?
He's ridiculous, and you're ridiculous. Your set was incredible. And I got to give it up to David Harrison, because
holy cow.
I can't believe that you guys were like, you know, I thought that you threw that band together. You kind of did.
I did.
But yeah, I mean, the harmonies and stuff, everything was, everybody, I was like, how's this band doing no way. And like, yeah.
Matt,
We have a good guitar community in this, in this city. Well, not just guitar community, but, you know, as a guitar player to guitar player, you know, but the musicians, man, we grew up out here, you know.
Yeah.
John, rest his soul, being one of those guys, you know, insane drummer.
It's one of my favorite things in life, man, is to see all the guys that we came up with continue to be productive and continue to be striving for something, you know, and I got to give it up for those guys, man. When I called them, they were all, you know, Matt, of course, Matt was there. He played on the record, so he was there. And you know Matt's nature. He's Mr. Bulldog. He ain't gonna let that shit go.
No.
So he ain't gonna let nobody else play that except for him. So Matt was all over it. He no problem with Matt.
It's a solid bass right there.
But Bobby Fikes and David Harrison, I saw them at Zebra's benefit,
Right.
and they did the bare knuckle ministry thing, and I was like, God, I went to high school with David, so we have a past. So David and I have known each other for a long time.
I have a separate past with David, but I've known him since I was 14 too.
Okay, so
I never knew that. So I never knew that.
Yeah, so David I've known for a long time.
One thing we have in common is we grew up in Northwest Houston.
So we know all the guys.
Yeah, I mean,
So John and all those guys.
Bob Rock.
Bob Rock.
And me and Bloss he was my first best friend in America, and you know, we played together and stuff like that. We were like, you know, I think everybody knew.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, you know, you and then, you know, Joel, and like the friendships people have.
Yeah, it's
But
amazing.
Bob Rock, and you got Craig LeMay.
Yeah, correct.
You know.
North side.
And speaking of like ridiculous pedal boards, you know, growing up, you know, there was another cat that's left us, you know, Vic Sorensen.
Oh,
this
crazy
guy
Vic.
had the biggest, you know, he looked like Chewy, you know, and he
The
had
OG
this biggest pedal
cat.
board, man, and it was painted all canary yellow. Like the entire thing was, he had everything, and his like main god was
Chris Squire.
Chris Squire,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he would play this incredible stuff, and he had Moog pedals and all this stuff, and
He was
so again,
he was the OG Sasquatch, baby.
he was OG Sasquatch,
Yes, he was.
but like growing up and seeing that, you know, and he played in that band with Boss called Nemesis, and you know, and then you get another. There you go. We talk about guitar players in this city, Gerard Garcia.
Yeah,
and
Gerard.
Lex Cochran. Man.
Lex, all those guys.
Mean, you know, Lex, you know, going to Parker Music and watching just like practice, warm up, just sitting back there, just like, it was just, man, it's, you know, it was like,
we had no shortage of players around here, man, and that's just
y'all
the rock
pushed me,
guys,
man.
you know.
Y'all pushed me because there's a discipline what y'all had and lessons and stuff like that. Even though I'm like immigrant Persian kid, I wasn't a typical immigrant like Middle Eastern kid because like my dad lost all his money and we were like broke. My mom left and my brother. I was literally a street kid that didn't know much. But Eddie, like I would read everything and he was just like gave you the like green light, man, just to go be crazy.
Right on.
So that's all I knew. I knew that if I messed with something, I would, you know, but I didn't even know skills. I just fished around. I remember going to the Stride House and doing some string skipping stuff. And you guys were like, what are you doing? You know, and I was like, and then I think you were like, you really like the mix, or Joel maybe, I don't know. One of y'all said, you really like the Mixolydian or something. I was doing some legato. I was like, what'd you call me? Because I really didn't know anything. But,
What'd you say, Willis?
but, you know, music, you know, you hear some things, but now, kind of going back, and you know how it is, you know.
Man, we were such nerds.
I wish I
then,
knew
know.
more. You guys, you still exploring it. One thing I find fascinating about you, sorry to be talking so much, but check it out, is the fact that you secretly, like, just disappeared and went back to school to get jazzed up, you know? Like Alex Skolnick, you know, he did that. He, like, you know, plays in Testament, then he goes to this jazz journey. Was that, what was that like? Tell me.
Well, man, Brendan
Nays.
is his dad or his uncle?
Well, I mean,
one of those.
his dad is like the legend.
Well, one of those guys was one of my teachers.
Okay.
For one of my workshops, and I was there during the era of
They're Houston OG legends.
maybe the mid '90s to the late '90s, and dude, we had one of the best jazz departments in the state, but it was at a community college.
Yeah.
And the deal was all these guys, they couldn't teach at a real college because none of them had the papers, right? None of them had
Joe
degrees.
Tassin's older brother.
All these cats were there, but you could teach at a community college. So one of my main teachers was the pianist Joe Locascio, and he was probably one of the main cats that just put his foot right on my tail end, and he really made me dig in. Now,
The Hole in the Wall Studios, there was a guy named Joel Tassin. He had come from Louisiana.
I remember that name.
His older brother, started running he went to school. I remember being around these guys. And the year that he graduated, he became the head of the musical department at that HCC.
Yeah.
That HCC.
in Northwest Houston. The one.
Yeah, it became synonymous for music. It just became like you knew. It had a reputation. Growing up, I remember it. But I kind of felt like I was a part, like saw it, like I didn't even never attended or nothing like that. I was still in school, but I remember all that. I remember going to this, you know, before like the Stride thing. You remember growing up and these guys were like heavy Boston fans
dudes,
too.
man.
But they were playing fusion at their house. I don't remember their band name, but they were like, it was just amazing to see all this stuff, you know? You know, like Bob Rock's band that he brought back from Berkeley, you know? Playing all the Chick Corea stuff, it's like, man, what the heck's going on here, man?
Yeah, man.
You guys did the same, but hard rock.
That's
you know,
what
like
that
metal.
was. That
like
was exactly was the goal, you know.
Yeah,
and,
you did it heavier,
a little heavier.
and the clean tones that you guys got were absolutely pristine, beautiful, clean, airy, and like, you know, there's a lot of bands that have tried to do that. You guys literally had that sound live, but you had it right there in your house. It sounded that good, man.
Man, we rehearsed every night, and the only nights we didn't rehearse were nights that we had a gig.
That's so amazing, man.
You want to hear the most amazing part of that? It was right across the street from the house that I grew up in. My parents lived right across the street, and we had a very strict dead at 10 policy. And at the crack of 10, out of respect to all of our neighbors, we just done. And we wouldn't make a peep till the next day. We had no problems. It got a little out of hand towards the end because we were having those after parties and shit there, and
What after parties?
stuff would go on all night, and
Yeah,
you know,
get loud.
It's a good thing we didn't have the internet and all of that stuff back then, because I'd probably just now be getting out of prison. And, you know, there was all kinds of drunken debauchery going on in there that I kind of remember. They tell me I had a real good time. But no, that was a fun time.
Yeah, it was a fun time, and we made it through, you know. And then, you know, again, seeing you with this guitar, man, and then so now your quest, and now you're playing. What are you doing now?
Well, you know, the I guess this is a good opportunity to pimp the record a little bit.
Yes.
That record is about here, be my guitar stand for a minute. It's about a year old now. It came out about a year ago, and this is Scott A. Smith Group, probably a little glare on the thing. And this came out last year, Scott A. Smith Group, and the name of the record is Electrified.
We're going to put the little thing on it.
Yeah, man, put that up. And I got a website you can go to, and scottasmithgroup.com. And you can come have a listen to the record. And I wish you guys would, and come and say hi and all of that. And, you know, we're on all the platforms, Apple Music, all that jive.
It's a killer record.
Dude, I'm the worst self-promoter in the world. Did I cover everything? Yeah, and I'm...
Just go listen to it, because I think his sincerity and humbleness and his salesmanship right there goes to show you. Yeah.
So on the record,
you just kind of like told everybody how good this record is, because
it's badass.
It's a killer record, man. It's a killer record. Both you and Joel have put out records, solo records and stuff, and it's just, you know, it's so good to hear, man. Just guitar players like exploring it.
Well, that's my heart, and that's kind of what I want to do.
I'm so happy to see you, like we were saying, doing things, and like, you know, thank you for my my gift pack, by the way.
Oh, you got that? So you're hooked up?
Oh yeah, I've been hooked up, man. I've been hooked up. That's what I'm saying. When I would go to see it live, I couldn't believe that you pulled that off. Like, you know what I thought was going to be? I thought y'all were going to get up and jam some covers or something, because it was a benefit. I did not know you were going to go do this, you know.
Yeah.
And I didn't know you were going to have David Harrison.
Man, can I go back to that for a second?
Please.
I wanted to really make sure that I talked those boys up, because they came in under duress, and they had a certain amount of time to get that work done. And like I said, Matt was there 110% ready to go. But Bob Fikes and David Harrison, they fell in, you know, with only peripheral knowledge of the music. And they tamed that shit, didn't they?
Yeah, man.
Oh my God, I was up there playing with them, and I'm like, you know, every time we stopped between songs, all I could do was say, these guys,
That's a tough venue for sound. And then you guys like must have had a great thing going up, you know, on stage, because it was so balanced, and it was really good. You and David, again, pulling off all the harmonies.
He played all the. I tasked him with playing the. I played lap steel on a song that I had him do. And he's a good slide player, you know. And I was like, dude, would you want to do this for me? And
David wanted. I almost, you know, when I met him, I kind of wanted to, you know, I kind of wanted to quit almost. You know, I was very young. I don't get it. I was 14. I sucked, man. Because he was like, we went to his house, and I don't know, he's just a couple of years older. Like, you know, he was like his parents' house. He was chain smoking, man. And he had a guitar wrapped around. He would not leave this guitar out, right? And then he just play Part of Eruption, play like, and man, I was like, what in the world is this guy? Like, he doesn't understand. Like, he's humble and he's down to earth. But I try to tell him what he like seeing him first time, what that means to me. Like I mean, this is like, you know what I mean? There's always a first time. Like when you lose your virginity or your first high or something, your first buzz, or like this was it. I was a guitar nut, and I seen this dude I just remember him just would not stop.
That's funny.
Smoking, and he had this hot sister. Or mom or something, I don't know. Everybody was hot, and he was down there smoking. I was like,
Jill Harrison. Hey, like, Jill, what's happening? Why does he think you're hot?
This is man. I was 14, and then he's just playing like Mean Street intro and like all these things. And I remember leaving that place, and then I was riding with Steve Bustamante, because I didn't have a license, and Steve was so pumped up about David Harrison.
He
couldn't stop. He was like, man, that guy's fucking good, man. He's bad, man. You know what? Then he had to do it. He was like, he's so good. He's like a 10, and you're like a 2. And he was trying to tell me how good David was. He had to shred me to pieces, and I was like, I know, man, I know.
That's
but you know,
funny.
this is like Eric Johnson, you like David Harrison. I mean, like who are these people? Well, it's like key players in my flipping life, man.
Yeah.
You know, because there's Eddie Van Halen and Randy Rhoads, but then you living person, I get to like watch this and like Lex, you know, like you watching him in Park and Music, you know, watching Gerard. Watching you and watching, you know, both y'all. I don't think there has been a scarier dynamic duo between like you got Lex and Gerard in Nemesis or whatever they had with Chewbacca. Chewy, and then you got you and Joe and Stride, and then you know, I don't know too many other bands actually. Well, there was another band out of here. I forget their name, man. I'm bad with names, dude.
I'm trying to help you out.
Tommy Tedesco, that's it.
Tommy Tedesco, yeah.
But yeah, that's a lot of work because I remember being an unorthodox kind of player and watching that and thinking like, it's not like none of it is easy, and y'all are doing it in harmonies. So they're like different places.
Well, man,
and it had phrasing, and it was like really scary chops, dude.
I can tell. By the way, thank you so much for
Who came up with all that?
That means so much to me. Well, I'm about to tell you our secret, and then the secret will be out, and there won't be a secret anymore. But no, man, from my heart, those were formidable days. And those were some of my favorite days because we did what we wanted to then, and we really didn't.
You literally lived and breathed it.
Yeah,
like every
we set
day.
our life up for that, and we lived it. So you know, we had that fun. But our secret, and Joel is probably gonna hammer me for this. Probably not, but every night while we were in California, Joel and I had a ritual every night. We would hit the couch at the same time with our guitars and we would watch Star Trek reruns on TV. And for that time that one or two or three episodes of Star Trek were on, we would sit there and noodle and we would pass shit back and forth to each other. And then that actually turned into some really valuable practice time because we formulated ways to make harmonies really quick. And, you know, Joe would come up with something, and then we had to come up with a way to harmonize it real quick. So we came up with formulas and ways of manipulating the fingerboard that we could get to those harmonies very, very quickly. So as soon as one guy came up with an idea, the other guy had already was sitting there trying to harmonize it. You know, so sometimes it was really awesome, and sometimes it was absolute ass-flavored ass, but, you know, you got to try, right?
It almost like, I'm sure it was the same case for Paul Gilbert and Bruce. You know what I mean? It's always that way. You know what I mean? It's trial and error.
Yeah.
But it's so reminiscent of that. And I think that's kind of like your pedigree, right? You kind of came out of that.
Yeah.
That you're like a product of that extreme guitar playing.
Kind of, man. But, you know, I was there with all those guys, and I got to admit, Mars, I was getting my ass handed to me on a daily basis. So, you know, I walked amongst giants, but I was constantly getting stepped on, you know. And to this day, you know, this is what keeps me on. If I'd have got it back then, I probably wouldn't be playing now. Because that's what gets me out of bed every morning is another chance to step up, you know. Another chance to just, let's play well today, man. And be responsible for every note you put out into the universe, you know. And
that's literally taking it to like the most sacred place that it really belongs to that because it comes from here, and then through the, you know, careers and stuff. Sometimes with business, you know, it's like I always found music business almost like the most foul two words to go together because they're two different. And one has heart and one absolutely does not. But the extra level, like what you know, to have to care, to literally have that love to transfer to, like what you just said, man. That not too many cats say it. To take responsibility to what you put out in note selection, That's a lot of thought process, and that's a lot of, that's beautiful. That's like purification almost, man. You're purifying yourself through notes, through this instrument.
Yeah.
Because we are souls,
Yeah.
our bodies will pass.
Yeah.
But and then we're almost instruments, like plain instruments.
Sure, man.
And that purity, like I really love hearing this.
Well, man, that means a lot, man, because when, and this isn't a, okay, you stroke me, now I'm going to stroke you. I got to honestly say, man, I've listened to all your stuff, and I feel that when I listen to your music, and I feel that come through in the way you write, and you're about the details.
Yeah.
And you're about taking out the trash and getting to the point.
Yeah.
I can tell. Am I right?
Yeah, I care for it. I care for it. I spend time with it, so I can then maybe it comes to me sometimes, whatever, later or whatever. Sometimes maybe I have to like really make more attempts than like a normal guy would. Like I would see Eddie always go first take.
Yeah,
So-
and we got to get over that. Those are ghosts in our attics
when I
that
did the
undermine
Heaviest
what we
Texas
do,
thing.
man.
True. When I did the Heaviest Texas album, for some reason I decided, because I did all that, prior to with the Ripper album, I did all like first take solos.
Yeah.
Stuff I had to go
Amazing,
learn.
dude. That's
But
fucking
when it Heaviest Texas, I did the Randy thing, which was triple track it. And then I had to still, now for the first time I was writing solos, but I still wanted the dynamics and like the spontaneity, of like a live solo. I still wanted to capture that.
Yeah.
With the harmonics, bombs, or whatever it may have, but then I had to do it 3 times. So that, sometimes 16 hours trying to play 30 seconds, 30 seconds or 10 seconds, or like, it's literally like looking up this giant mountain. You're like, not even at the bottom of it. You're like below it. And God is good, because when you commit, and you ask the universe for something, sometimes it shows you one note, and that's all it takes, man. Once one thing appears, because it's not like I'm making it up. I'm not making up nothing. I'm discovering this.
Yeah.
So it's a discovery. It's like God's, like, it's already there in the universe. I'm discovering it. And then through my practices, I'm trying to, like, like you do. Like, what you just, the phrase you said, you give it back with the utmost amount of respect. So you get, like, the ego is like all dead now. You go to, present the art.
Well, man, that's one thing. That's a great thing that has come to us through age. We're both 50-something-year-old musicians now. I'm closer to 60 than you are, a hell of a lot closer, by the way. And frankly, we don't have to.
You look great, Scott. You always look great, man. You always like working out.
But I was gonna say, man, we're getting older, and we're as old men say, we're getting set in our ways, and we to be crass and blunt about it, we don't have to take a great deal of shit off anybody anymore.
That's right.
And we can enjoy ourselves.
That's right.
And we can enjoy the music that we make for what it is. We're not having to pander to a single person. And you know what, man? And that brings me back around to all of our brothers and sisters out there that are still making music and still being productive. Is now at this time, everybody's making the best music that they've made, because they're not encumbered by the stuff, by the pandering to the hair metal crowd, or pandering to trying to get this label to look at us. Nobody gives a shit about that anymore, and everybody's just doing their best work.
Yeah, man.
And on a local level, I could go on and start name checking people, but all the brothers and sisters
ultimately,
out
that's
there,
the goal.
Yeah.
To be, we're like different flowers, man. But we're all flowers. We're on the field. We're all growing. It's good to, we not everybody can be a rose. We need daisies. We need this and that. We need, better flowers, man. And that's what we bring. And you're right. It's forced us. It's forced me to really go deep inside, because I've never wanted to sing. I wanted to be Jimmy Page, Richie Blackmore, Eddie Van Halen, Randy Rhoads. I've always wanted, growing up, man, it was a dream to play for Ozzy. It was like, that was the dream gig, But that never happened. For me, I had to like learn how to sing, or like write lyrics and do all that, come up with different drum parts, and like, and then like learn how to be an engineer, and like, all the things you don't want to do, but it was like it was meant, you know, it had to be, you know, because it teaches you.
Yeah, right.
It teaches you,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's you like, okay, well, maybe this was my calling, and I had to be complete. That's where I'm at in my life now again.
Yeah.
I'm having to do like, you know, we were talking about with Ron, kind of like Wolfgang, man.
Well, I'm really excited, Marzi, to see how Marzi reinvents himself this time, because you're working on something, I can tell.
Yeah, I'm working on something,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know, it's a work in progress. Let me ask you what you're up to.
At the moment, man,
You gonna play more live gigs with these guys? 'Cause
well, I'd love to.
You really
and
should.
I got to talk about them a little bit more, and I got to say that you know, talk about David for a minute, Matt, solid cat, and you know, Bobby Fikes has been in our life for a long time.
yeah.
But that was the first time I ever got the opportunity to play with him, and he was such a stand-up dude, man. And not only he was, as they say in the sports vernacular, is he's good in the clubhouse. You know, not only is he a good cat to play with, but he's a solid cat to kind of hang out with too.
He
He took
is.
care of a lot of bullshit. He took care of like little logistic things that drive me nuts, you know. And I didn't ask him to do it; he just did it. You know,
And that was the first time you guys played together?
Yeah,
Northwest Houston Legends.
yeah, dude, and he did such a wonderful job, and
He's a freaking machine, dude.
and surely I will call them back, and they're on standby. But I'm taking advantage of being a band leader. I'm not real great at being a band leader. I'm learning, but I also learned that as a band leader, I get to decide what the hell's going on. So
I mean, you got a good heart, man, and you have ambition. You're just super extremely kind, but you know, I mean, dude, you that's a great role for you, man.
Yeah, well, we're gonna get out there and do some stuff, and
That's
I'm
good
just
to hear,
waiting
man.
on, you know, actually, the run up to getting Electrified out in the world, getting that sucker mixed, and getting out in the world, and what little promotion I did do with it. That took a lot of brain cells, and in that time, you know, my house is falling down, and I need to spend time with my wife and that kind of stuff. So at the moment, we're kind of catching up on things.
But you know, the good thing is you did it, and it's brand new to whoever's never heard it. So you know,
Right
this
on.
is another opportunity to like plug this Scott's album, and then go do your homework, listen to it, and then you know, come see you live.
Well,
It's,
we're
you
gonna
know,
we're
then you
gonna
get
do
familiar with
more,
it.
and I'm digging up some old demos, and I think my heart's telling me it's time to just get back in the studio and start making number two.
Man, it's a lot
When I
easier.
say number two, I meant what I meant is good number two, good number two.
Yeah, man, go to the Brown Bomber. Yeah,
Well,
man, that didn't even go well either. That was Zeppelin's second album. Why did I even say that? That's,
Well, I think Marzi, what's on the horizon for now is just, you know, if opportunities come up for the group, we'll certainly take them. Hopefully, you know, as much as I love playing with Bobby Fikes, it would be awesome if Bob Caton could come in and play with us, because he's the guy that played on the record,
Yeah,
and he did
man.
a really outstanding job. But you
in the
know,
world today, you know, with everybody's schedule, it's probably going to be both.
it's just a logistic.
You never know
Yeah,
who's available.
everybody's kind of telling me that, just be prepared for the revolving door. But you know, I
You
got
have to.
I got some good cats,
Yeah,
man.
it's
We
like-
got some good guys.
But then if
with
you
us,
if you
man.
got that, then you're lucky, you know. I myself and I have another friend here that played in a metal band. You know, we won't talk about it, but there was a period, man, we would like cry to each other over the phone because, you know, you would line up a bunch of gigs, you know, and whatnot, and then, you know, this one you get a call, I can't make this. And it's like, it's an original band. How do you gonna get somebody? It's not like, hey, we're playing Jesse's Girl, and you know, it's like it's really a tough gig when you're playing original music, when you have a good group of people, and you always have. You know, they say, my mom always said, good attracts good and bad attracts bad. You've always attracted that good. You have that. You ooze it, and that beautiful energy. And you've got, like, you know, Matt, all these years. You know, like you said, your friendship with Joel and all these people. So I'm looking forward to seeing you play again. That teaser that day and seeing Joel play again was awesome also.
Well, you know
it
that the Reverend Skelton's on the comeback.
Yeah, because Todd came by my house and told me about it, which is great. That's another great thing. Who plays drums in that band, Matt?
The guy who plays in the skate band, Wesley Morel. Leslie Moreau.
They don't know him, but we're all playing. You know, the guy, played drums for me on the Need album after Super Joint, Russell DeLeon.
Russell.
Like, insane drummer, man.
Beast.
Beautiful guy.
Yeah, yeah.
He plays in the Foreigner band.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like Already Gone. No, that's the Eagles.
No, they double vision.
Double vision,
with
man.
Ray Solis.
Yes.
Hey, Ray.
Smiley.
Oh yeah.
We changed his name to Smiley.
We got to plug that guy, man. He's doing all the work. Him and Sandra.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
do.
man.
And I call him Smiley because he's always smiling. And then like Love and War has some promo pictures came out. He's all looking mean and stuff. I can't take it, man. I was like, and he looked mean. I was just like, man.
Love you, Ray.
I was like, no, Smiley, don't do it, Smiley.
No, Ray and Sandra are doing all the good, man. And
They are, man. They are, because look, we were 2023, and then they have a show, and they play Heaviest Texas. They play your album. So it's like, who does that nowadays?
Right
You know?
on.
We grew up in a generation where like Linda Silk on 101 KLOL and like Saturday nights, she would do that. That's how me and Bloss heard Hellstar the first time.
Yeah.
We heard him on KLOL.
Probably at the same time I did.
And the fact that there was a metal band from Houston on the radio, and it's just not that. It was like, it was Hellstar, the name, and they sounded great, man. They were like gods to me. And anyway, H-Town was great. And so Sandra and Smiley are doing that.
Yeah.
Here, what's the name of the show?
It's
Rock
the
Radio.
Rock Rage Radio.
Rock Range Radio.
Is the name of the mothership that they broadcast through.
Oh, okay.
So they're rockrageradio.com will get you to their show, and it's at Saturday mornings, 9 to 11.
Yeah, and
I'm very happy.
right there. You can hear both of our music because they got us on rotation.
Yeah, they got us on rotation. It's nice to be in rotation, ain't it? Dave?
Yeah, man.
I'm
yeah.
the token shredder. I'm the token instrumental stuff. It's awesome being that guy, And, but they're good people. It's been been good to get to know them, and it's been good to be.
He's kind of like the younger generation.
He is.
He came
man.
after us. He's and he plays with John. That's another guy we need to mention. John Adams, because Works was a big thing for me, for Bloss, and like there's a music store called Texas Tom's Music, man.
Holy cow.
I bought my Rat pedal there. I bought my first Tube Screamer, which I still have with the box, by the way. And they had like a battle of the bands in some barn like somewhere, and we went there, and Harold was there. Harold had like a wireless, and he jumped into the crowd, and he was doing dive bombs, sticking his tongue out, and it was like, this Jimi Hendrix looking guy going crazy, man.
You told a story recently online about Randy Hughes selling you something.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Randy Hughes. But let me get to the Works thing real quick. They came on and they were like, they looked like gods, man. Long hair, and they were all like cool looking. And they did, and I never heard this band before, Motley Crue, right? They did Live Wire. And I thought it was one of their songs. And
right,
when they did they had seen the video and I hadn't seen it. So they had this guy, Steve Mojica,
Steve, yeah.
and then he fell to his knees during that. I was like, bro, man, I couldn't believe Works. Then they had a drummer, Lance Nix. I ended up jamming with Lance, who just passed away. God rest his soul.
Yeah,
so these are like key important players. I'm so glad we're having this hang. It's been a great 15-minute talk.
Yeah, no kidding.
And so let me ask you this. So we've been blessed growing up. Who are some of the, wrapping this thing up, who are some of these people today that are, you brought up Greg, like Greg Koch, man.
Oh, today?
It's today. For me, it's like, right, who are some people that are rocking your world today?
Well, man, I gotta admit that the younger guys are off on a they're on a different level. They came from a different starting point than we did.
Way different.
And right now I'm digging on Matteo Mancuso.
That was going to be my first guess.
Daniele Guitardo. And then on the funkier side, I kind of like Giacomo Toro. So you're digging on these guys too, right?
Yes, man.
So I'm not necessarily running out trying to learn their shit, but I am saying, way to move the ball.
Way to move it, man.
Way to take the ball and run, fellas, and they're doing some amazing stuff. And
That's I saw him play today. The whatever trick bag from Crossroads.
Yeah.
You saw that today?
Yeah.
Because he was doing
Matteo,
he was doing the Vi camp, and
But-
he played that, and it's
flawless.
Yeah,
Better.
yeah.
Maybe a fresher version than what we're used to hearing.
It was absolutely an execution. If you had to throw it up in some kind of computer graph, it was like the notes were like, he is scary. He is scary. But then, you got Dallas boys and Polyphia that are like,
Yeah.
it's also, creating like, I mean, man.
There's a new language coming up, Mars.
Exactly.
There's a new language, and we're getting to
It's
see
a
it
language,
come
and they're leaned the way in it, and they
Yeah.
got a lot of different players today. Heavy players. There's a lot of great heavy players, but there's a lot of the new trend of clean, little bit overdriven guitar tones, where the voicings, a lot of harmonic playing. You can't have high gain for that.
Yeah.
That it's and the fusion of like Latin and flamenco playing mixed in with slap bass and like this just insane fusion of tapping,
Yeah.
double-handed tapping, like all of it, man, all of it. I'm waiting for somebody to just like whip it out and like use that for, like, I mean, you know what I mean? What else? Musically, it's like it sounds so complete.
Yeah.
And they have their own voices.
Yeah.
And then, it's I saw you and your beautiful wife at the freaking Aristocrats,
Yeah.
man. I mean, what else to say about Guthrie? And it was just not even Guthrie. It's like literally the band, man.
Yeah, those guys are insane.
They did,
Guthrie's another level player.
and his band. I couldn't get my eyes off the drum kit that night.
Yeah,
And
my
he's-
wife has a drummer crush on Marco Miniman.
Markham, and yeah, I can, as a drummer, I can see, like I can get the musical crush thing. He's insane. He's insane, and the range. It was like it was like getting humbled again.
Yeah.
At this age.
Yeah.
The way it was when I got to see Steve Morris, like right at introduction after the Dregs,
You know what? I have to agree
It's like
with
the
that.
modern day.
Yeah.
because they're really pushing the bar, man.
Because that was a go to school night. That was a welcome to church. There you go.
Yeah, I'm still going to school.
Got that
I don't even know
picture
what's
from the
going on.
stage, and Margie's in the middle of the pit. Like a little
I
kid,
love
man.
it.
I love it.
I was like a little kid. I was trying to, usually I leave and stuff like that because I'm like, I could not move. I couldn't even take enough
that
of
was
it.
a great
It was
show.
like I was taking so much, and again, seeing you was so great to see. I was like, Scott, and there's this one thing in this journey. Like I was saying, when we met, I came here because of war, and then now there's another one, and then there'll be one after we leave and stuff
Yeah,
like
right.
that. But the love that we have had differently, coming from different backgrounds, for this thing that's just brought us so much love and joy.
Oh, man.
And then we're fortunate enough to actually share it.
Yeah, getting to share it. And there's not enough said about that. And that's something that musicians don't really talk about enough. That's our place in humanity, is to make other people happy, right? But we got to entertain ourselves in the process. And then I have to constantly remind myself as I burrow down in my studio that, you got to go out and do some
Give it
stuff.
back.
You got to give it back. You got to go out and play some. And I'm happy to do that. But
And I'm
also,
happy you're doing it.
Man.
Because, a lot of people tell me that when I take, not breaks, but, sometimes it takes time to go in the studio. Like, you're doing a public and misjustice. And I want to say that almost to you, too, because, at this level of playing and love, people need to see that.
Well, stuff's gonna.
I don't
get,
doubt it.
Mars, I like to consider myself one of the luckiest musicians on the planet, because anything that's ever come to me, I just happen to be standing in the right place. I can't say that I actually go out and go for these things. I just, they happen to me.
That's beautiful.
The
man.
universe
It's
has been very
natural
kind to me.
progression. Yeah, the universe just brings it out to you.
And I continue to try to be kind to people, so I expect some of that kindness to come in here in a little while, and then opportunity will follow, and we'll get out and we'll play some,
This was told to me once, we believe in a good karma, and you have a lot coming your way, sir.
Yes, sir.
I want to wrap this up, but
Before we do, man.
not before Scott brought a surprise here today. I'm clueless. I know it's a Git fiddle, and you want me to hold that?
Yeah, you can hold her.
Yeah, I want to.
Be nice to her.
Yeah, dude. This
She
thing.
bites. Watch out.
This is beautiful. I'm not gonna play it.
No, you could play the shit out of it.
I'm kind of. I'll get to play this after this.
I gotta prime this, man, and we gotta go way back. You know that picture you posted the other day of you and your Peter Brady hair and all that? That's the Marzi that I remember.
Of course, yeah.
That was the Marzi sitting on the edge of the drum riser playing that half-dilapidated Kramer that belonged to Trip.
Yeah.
You remember Trip?
Yes.
Trip was a trip, amen?
Trip was a trip.
Yeah.
Trip was a trip, yeah.
Okay, so
The
that's
first
where
dude
we
that-
met, hanging out in Trip's room.
Okay.
And Trip was just a good dude. That's all you can really say about Trip.
Yeah,
I don't
man.
know what his purpose in life was other than just be a good dude.
Yeah.
And he had that room.
It brought people like us together.
He had all of that gear. He had a little bit of money, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted to very badly to be a bass player in
player.
a band. So he had all his bass gear and he had all the gear. So it was like,
You're trying to make it happen.
build it and they will come kind of situation.
Right.
And you remember he had all of those counterfeit Les Pauls. You remember
Yes.
that? Okay. So we're connecting on this.
Yes.
You ready?
Yes.
Okay. Trip gave me this back then, and I've kept on keeping on with it. And I know you remember this guitar.
Oh, wow.
You remember?
I remember this guitar like yesterday, man.
He gave me that guitar. Here, let me take the telly because you're going to want
No. You
You're
go
gonna
ahead,
wanna
man. You
molest
show it
it.
off, man. Wow, man. I
What
was
do you
just
think?
talking to Brent about the Chiquita. This,
Yeah.
Dude, look, y'all, guitar folks. That thing is rare, bro. It's a knockoff.
It's a knockoff.
Still, though.
For sure. And,
It's like a Les Paul lawsuit.
but I wanted to see your
incredible.
reaction.
I have not seen that guitar in like, man.
Do the math, baby.
I don't want to do the math, man.
It's
Y'all
like-
don't need to know how old I am. But, man, wow. I'm so happy that you got it. It looks like it plays still.
I play it.
plays.
Yeah, I mean it's set up.
wanna-
It's I kept
You want to
it
plug it
together.
in?
Yeah, let's plug it in. See what kind of sound it sounds like through the Vibra King. I have it in
Oh, yeah, open tuning?
I have it in little guitar tuning.
Oh, what tuning is that?
So
I never knew.
Eddie being brilliant. So you take if you took a normal guitar and you tuned it up a minor third, right? So the E string is now G string. It follows just like putting a capo at the third fret.
Oh, okay.
And that brings the tension up right? And then you drop D from there. So that's actually F, I guess. Right?
Okay, yeah.
So I like that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That reminds me of seeing him in concert and him playing that.
Yeah, man. Don't you love that song?
I love that song.
Barroom version.
That's like, what would you describe that as? When I started hearing a little bit of Zeppelin in them, right? But like Eddie, that right there somehow came for me. It came from the Who. Yeah, I think that was Eddie mimicking other things, and then dude, the sensitivity and the volume that raises and all that with his hands on that, dude. And remember the song was, you saw him live, right?
Yeah.
He would go from this side of the stage, he'd do the jump and go down
And he
the
had
side.
he had the little Les Paul,
it
just
was
like this
sunburst,
one, and
like sunburst looking, right?
yeah. And man, I remember that. You
I
posted
can't
that
believe
picture
that.
of the Van Halen concert.
Yeah,
From what was that, Diver Down?
that was Diver Down.
Yeah, I was in front row for a couple of those shows.
There was 2 shows.
Yeah.
There was 2 shows.
That was the greatest guitar lesson of my life.
That was seeing him throughout the years, because Women and Children was the first show I ever saw with them. Then they came 2 nights. That was at the Coliseum. 2 nights for Fair Warning. That was also at the Coliseum. But Diver Down tour was at the Summit, and they had that stage with the, you know, like you know, it was like Van Halen's, like, you know, just like all the years that I've seen them do solos and stuff like that, because they did Us Festival then.
Yeah, that was after.
Those solos that him and Alex played were the baddest things I'd ever seen. Now, you know, the 5150 with Live Without a Net solo, that's, you know, a thing on its own. But with Roth there, you know, like that year, the solos were, man, they were pissed off or something, because he was like coming to the front, you know, and he's making all these noises, and he would run, and I was at a position where I could see it. He was running and he would go up sideways and kick the middle cabinet and then jump back down. And there was dudes in the back. I saw it. They were holding it back.
Up, yeah.
It was like Jimi Hendrix 2.0, bro. He wasn't sticking the guitar in there. He was like attacking it ninja style. And it was like a physical thing with these guys.
Well, we had
I've never seen people have so much fun on stage,
man. You're not kidding, man. And that he brought some joy to it. Well, the whole band did, you know. In the Roth era of Van Halen, you can say what you want about the other eras of Van Halen, but that was the shit. And
unmistakable.
I think Marzi, that was you went through the same thing that I did at that time, because we were prime at that time. We were prime. Our brains were wide open, and I mentioned, you know, it was the greatest guitar lesson ever, because I went in with questions. You know,
oh wow,
I'm sitting on the front row. And he's going to play some, and I'm taking notes.
Yeah, man, that's so, because of that age that you get to witness this.
Yeah.
You're watching him in his prime, too.
Well, that was the concert that, you know, I had enough under my fingers. I'm sitting at home with Van Halen records trying to figure this shit out. And the stuff that I couldn't get, when he plays that shit tonight, I'm watching.
Oh.
And I was right in the front row, man. And I that concert, went home all night, practiced all night. And all the tricks. And the biggest trick that I learned that night was this one.
Right. That's so
I had no idea how to do that. And when he did it, I was like, I want to go home now. You know, and that was just so
That's
amazing.
like the best thing, dude. He did so many cool things, man.
Yeah, no, man, but that was one that I could remember. That was one of
You get to
many.
see it firsthand.
I was right there in front row.
You watched him do it. You know, he said the same thing about, you know, Billy Gibbons. He does it one time. He said he saw him do it at 74.
Wow.
You know, what is it? I keep getting the wrong note. Blue Jean Blues, I think. Right?
Probably.
I think it's like he just does it once. And that's a friggin' another god we can get into.
Oh, my God.
Man,
Yeah, gee.
you know, this hang's been like the best, man. The best of the best of the best. We're going to pop up all your stuff so people can catch up. Thank you for bringing this out. You like literally made me go back decades.
Isn't
man.
that crazy?
I've not seen or played that guitar since I was freaking a teenager.
I often wonder, you know, what became of Tripp. I hope he's doing well, because he was a hell of a guy. And,
Yeah, man.
He was just a people pleaser, if I remember right.
Yeah, he was just trying to make things happen.
He was just
He's very
yeah.
ambitious.
And then one day he was gone, and we just never heard from him again. But he did give me this guitar. And Tripp, if you're out there, I've been taking real good care of it.
Looks like it.
And I play it often, and that's the best you could hope for, right?
And this thing's probably got more dirt on it because I just held it, and because it looks pristine, man. You really, really take. This guitar is beautiful.
Yeah, I
you
love
take
my
really
guitars,
good
man.
care of your instruments, man. Scott, thank you for being here, man.
Hey, Marzi.
I love you so much, man.
You as well, man. And from the bottom of my heart, I'm so glad you had me on the show.
I'm so glad you're here.
I'm glad that I'm in the pantheon of people that you want to talk to. You know?
You're a key player in my life, man.
Well, man,
I thank you for being here.
likewise, mutual all the way.
Yeah, man. Thank you for being here.
We'll keep doing the work.
Yeah, man. Thank you for watching this. It's been a really special one. And you're going to do your homework for Scott this Sunday when you see this at 11/11.
Oh.
It don't matter because it's going to be aired on 11/11.
So it's coming out this week, huh?
This Sunday.
Sunday, wow.
My man Ron. I want to thank my man Ron, my man
Ron.
Brett.
Like and subscribe, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe, motherfuckers. And like right there in the middle, about 11-inch beard.
11-inch beard. If I could grow a beard, it'd be like Mars's.